When 7.23 first came out, there was a lot of confusion about which build to go for on Lone Druid. But now that this patch has been out for a couple of months, a consensus has emerged as far as at least a standard build goes. And in this game we're going to look at Qojqva going for exactly the standard build. We're going to talk about why it's so strong and how to play it.
My holiness deepens.
Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. This is a game hot off the presses between Liquid and the old Liquid, Nigma, playing in the Minor qualifier. It was played just yesterday. So here in the mid lane we have Qojqva going up against Weeha's Mars. And this is a matchup that's I think slightly Lone Druid favored, but definitely Mars also a strong laner, so it's definitely not going to be easy here. And Qojqva so far has been doing quite well in terms of last hitting. He's gone here for Savage Roar at a level 2 skill, and he's using that to secure range creeps. There we go. And now you can see him doing really well. Now six last hits against 2 last hits and 1 deny. So really nice, giving him an early advantage. He's opted here for a Blightstone as starting item instead of the Overvenom. Slightly unorthodox. Usually you see rather people go for Overvenom, but it's also a respectable choice, of course. And you want to go for that item anyway, because it just adds so much damage to both yourself and your bear. And we also see him going for a Town Portal scroll for his bear at the start. This is very important, so you can TP back with your bear to base. This allows you to pick up items quicker, as well as of course heal your bear. And here he has just enough gold for Overvenom. Unfortunately not enough gold to rebuy a TP scroll, so otherwise you definitely want to buy a new TP scroll here, but just was below the 50 gold. Qojqva also picked up a Blades of Attack, which is important, helping you out with your last hitting and with your trading. And of course you want to go for phase boost anyway, so this is usually the best item to pick up right at the start, unless you're dominating your lane. If you're dominating your lane, you might go for an earlier boots. He's going here on Wee, but Wee can easily escape here and has the bottled up region rune here. Whereas Qojqva now is kind of struggling. He's out of region, doesn't have a salve, so there's no easy way of healing himself back up. That's I think a bit of an oversight. You definitely want to make sure you have some more region than this. And he's having some problems here. He doesn't have TP on this bear anymore, so I feel at this point you definitely need to use your courier rather than waiting to get your next big item. It's like level 1 Spirit Link, yes it heals you, but it's not very much heal. And we see we going on Qojqva and actually getting the kill, because Qojqva was too greedy and didn't want to buy extra region. So that's definitely not something you want to do. Oftentimes you can get away with Lone Druid with not buying any region, because you have your passive to heal you, but level 1 passive doesn't heal that much, so definitely still need to buy region if you run out. So right now Qojqva is in the very bad position of not having a bear for 80 seconds, which means he can't really contest his Mars anymore. And what started out as a really good lane at the start now has turned into a nightmare, and he's now pretty far behind this Mars, especially now that he's picked up this double damage rune. It's going to make everything even harder. So in this position you just want to play very defensively, try to get under your tower. I see him pulling aggro like this, and just try to wait this out, because right now there's no way you can test this Mars. So as the wave is in an unfavorable position, he's actually going to go and farm a jungle camp, because it's just too risky to go up to this Mars. So after some slow and painful farming, the wave is finally pushing into him again. He's also bought himself some tangos finally to heal himself back up, and now he can have his bear back again, and he can defend this tower from this incoming catapult wave. And with this death, and with him having to farm inefficiently while his bear was in cooldown, Qojqva is now too weak to directly contest his Mars, even with this bear back alive, especially since there's a double damage rune on Wee. So he's just pushing out the wave and it's under the tower, and then he's going to the jungle, because he just doesn't want to die again. because dying again now would be disastrous. But this wave is pushing in, so we kind of have to defend the tower. And first item, of course, here is this phase boots, which is going to be completed in a second. This is the best first item to go for. Makes your bear so much more mobile, as well as giving you a good bit of damage. And Insania, for some reason, is now coming in here, but this is not really going to work out well for them. He gets skewered onto this arena here, and he's just going to die. And like you see there, this is not doing any damage to this Mars. So I'm not sure what Insania was thinking there, but that was not a successful gank, obviously. If you do well in your lane, you can consider now going for brown boots on your hero and play very aggressively. This allows you to have better chasing potential, but in a position like this where you're behind, you definitely just want to go right into your Mask of Madness. This is going to help you fight straight up, and it's going to help you farm better. So that's what he's going for. And the reason you go Mask of Madness is just it's the most efficient attack speed item to go for on Lone Druid in the early game, and it helps you a lot with your sustain. And the silence, of course, is not very important on Spirit Bear, because you can still use your Savage Roar from your main hero and it's still going to cast around your bear. So that's why ever since 7.23, Mask of Madness is a core item on Lone Druid. And his MO is still the same. He's just going to farm these jungle camps and then defend his tower when the wave pushes in. So that is all you can really do at this stage, because this Mars is now too far ahead to really contest. So he finds a jungle item here, Ocean Heart, and now he's actually transforming into his ultimate to defend this tower, because this Mars with Arena of Blood is too dangerous to really approach without your ultimate. And for some reason this is in the way of the level indicator. The replay function in Dota is really riddled with bugs. Someone really should take a look at this at some point. But yeah, he's now gone for this Mask of Death. Usually you want to go for the quarter stuff first. It's a better fighting item. But here you're in this catch-up position where you're just trying to farm to get back on track. So it makes sense to go for the Morbid Mask here, just to help him sustain and farm better. Mars has left the lane, so now it's time to actually start hitting this tower and put some pressure onto this tower to force Mars to come back, or force someone else on Nigma to come back here. Box is just barely escaping here. And during all this time, Qojqva is just hitting creeps and putting pressure onto this tower. Catapult wave is coming in here, so we have to defend against this. Gets the catapult last hit, and he's just staying very defensively here. He doesn't want to fall victim to this Mars. But now with Tiger coming in and Insania also coming in, they're going with all heroes here onto this Mars. We even have Boxy coming in here from the side, and they get the kill. Boxy trying to find something more, but it's not going to happen. Qojqva resummoning his bear and committing onto this mid tower, and now they've taken the middle tower. This is a very important objective, obviously. With the tower kill, Qojqva is flagged on the top of the net worth. They find Miracle here in the jungle, and Miracle hasn't had a very good game, so he's trying to recover here in the jungle. And they have a vision here, so they know he's not farming in this triangle, so he has to be farming here basically. So they find him here and kill him off. Kuro comes in, tries to help Miracle, but doesn't really do much, and GH going with ultimate gets a kill here, but this is a fight where Nigma sort of coming in one by one, and it's just not going well for them. This is not a particularly good fight, and of course the main objective of this kind of invasion that Liquid are doing here is to buy space for the anti-mage. So while the Medusa was killed off, anti-mage has continued farming, and as long as you have an anti-mage farming well, your team is going to do well. And so that's why they're doing a lot of aggressive moves here as 4 to buy more space for this anti-mage to get farmed. But even though we're going to play aggressive here to make space for anti-mage, you can't neglect your own farm. So we see Qojqva sort of alternating between farming and fighting with his team, and right now it's time to do a little bit of farming. and he's going for a Desolator, which is the standard choice to go for after Face Boots and Mask of Madness, because it just fits so well in with what the hero does. So your hero does a lot of single target damage, it's almost all physical damage, and he's really good at taking down towers, and this is exactly what Desolator provides you more of. So it's an item that fits really well in with what Lone Druid wants to do, but the problem is it doesn't cover up your weaknesses. So, and the item that covers up your weaknesses would be something like a Radiance or a Maelstrom. But these two items are a lot slower than Desolator, and in most pro games these days you're going to play a very high tempo version of Lone Druid, and this is especially the case if you're playing him as a position 2 with a position 1 anti-mage. So you want to play very high tempo, you want to not invest too much into farming items, you just want to have items that are good at fighting and then also incidentally are good at farming. And Desolator fits that mold and provides you with a lot of single target damage. Qojqva hitting now this tier 2 tower. This is reasonably safe, they just saw Mars down here. The other heroes on the Nigma team are not that strong. You're primarily afraid of Mars, so if Mars is not nearby, this is fairly safe to do. So he's just using his HP from his bear as a resource, putting damage on this tier 2 tower. Unfortunately, he hasn't had a TP on this bear in a long time. This is definitely a problem, definitely should have thrown himself out of TP at some point. But as it is, he's going to have to play with this really low HP bear, and he's almost dies to the Darkseer, but Raw saves the day, and he's going to TP out and protect this bottom lane. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage just farming the jungle, and now he's completed Battle Fury, his farm is going to take off and accelerate to the top. Nigma going on the mid tower, and they want to force a fight here with the Arena of Blood. They spear Tiger to the edge here, but Boxy is also quite farm, he's also quite strong, and Weeha's getting really low. Meanwhile, Qojqva is coming in, his bear's been healing up, but he has to recall, so it's only on half HP. But he has his Desolator complete, and is now chasing. And this Miracle Medusa is just not in a very good spot. She's out of mana, and soon out of HP, and down she goes. So this very aggressive move here from Nigma not paying off. Qojqva takes this DD with his bear, which I think is a mistake. He should definitely have taken it either with his hero or just had like anyone else on the team pick up the DD. It's like it's literally the worst character to pick up this DD on this bear. It only adds 20 damage. Even picking it up on support would be better than having it on the bear. Now they're Roshing, and this is one of the big advantages of the Desolator build, that they can Rosh really early, and thanks to your passive with the Spirit Link, you can just tank with your hero and deal damage with your bear. So they're gonna put this Roshan really low, so forcing Nigma to fight again here, and we picks up support here, but Darkseer is also in trouble. You'll be used here, and Darkseer dies from Tiger. Very nice engage here, saving Boxy from being killed, and Qojqva still has a resummon here, and they get a stun onto Mars, and Mars dies, and Miracle has to retreat. Doesn't have an ultimate, so it's going to be hard for him to fight. And it's back into the Roshan pit, and trying to finish this Roshan. But Nigma don't want this to happen. They're trying to contest here. They have a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker. He has Echo, but he doesn't get to use Blink Dagger here. Gets picked off and dies without him cast his Echo. And now they can go back and finish this Roshan. See the support here, and the Boxy hanging outside the pit, protecting this Roshan. And the Qojqva doesn't want to pick up this Aegis. They want this Aegis either on Boxy or a Miracle, and it's probably best on Boxy because like he's the primary playmaking hero here. And in Lone Druid it's not that important to have Aegis because typically you run out of bear resummons before you die yourself in most fights, so Aegis on Lone Druid is not the best. Liquid going for a smoke. They want to try to see where this Medusa is farming. They see illusions nearby. but at least they find this Kuro puck. Rocket's used to secure the kill here, and that is a support kill, and Boxy is beyond godlike. Someone kill him. But right now it's just more invading into the jungle. They want to keep this Medusa from farming, while Anti-Mage is having a very free game, already well on his way to his Manta style. Meanwhile, Lone Druid, after his Desolator completed, he's going to go for a Basher. Now you might ask, why go for Basher now? Why not go for something that gives a lot more attack speed? Because you only have this Mask of Madness attack speed. Why go for another damage item? Because Desolator is actually a damage item. Yes, it has that stun, but really its primary purpose here is to do damage. It has 50 damage on average per hit, so it's really another damage item and quite comparable to Desolator, just with the stun instead of the armor reduction. So the reason you would go for another damage item rather than attack speed is that there just isn't any really efficient attack speed item that you can go for at this stage of the game. You can of course go for a Hyperstone, but it's just not a very efficient item by itself. It's really only good if you can build it into an AC or into a Mjolnir. By itself it's a very inefficient item. Gloves of Haste take up too much inventory space. So there isn't really any good attack speed item, and you can't go agility items obviously on the bear. So you're kind of stuck with only having this Mask of Madness, as well as of course the passive attack speed provided by Spirit Link. And this is why this Skull Basher here is sort of the natural follow-up to Desolator. They go for this tower here, hitting the tower with a bear. Of course, bear with his Desolator doing a lot of tower damage. This Mars is forced to flee. The bear's kind of low and dies, so he has to resummon. And his job here in this game is just to hit the buildings. That is his primary job. And so they take down this tier 2 tower and even get a kill on this Earthshaker without losing anything. So at this stage they're really far ahead, and it's honestly going to be a fairly easy game from here on out. But let me finish talking about the item build. So this is the standard item build in professional games. You go for this Basher, and then afterwards you go for attack speed in the form of an AC, which of course complements all the physical damage you're doing with your Desolator and your Basher, as well as of course stacking the armor reduction. And armor reduction is quite good. It stacks with increasing returns basically. So if you look at the percentage increase that you get from each point of armor reduction, it's highest against low armor targets. So if you have 10 points of armor reduction, it's actually more than twice as good as having 5 points. So this is why you often see heroes that already have innate armor reduction items, like a TA, going for more armor reduction for more Desolator. So that's also, by the same token, this Desolator plus AC is a very potent combination. One problem with this build, of course, is that it doesn't farm very fast. It's very good at fighting, it's a very high tempo build, but it's all single target, you're not farming as fast. So in this game here, because they have Anti-Mage, that's not a problem, because Anti-Mage is the one who's going to take up so much space. There isn't really enough space for another hero to flash farm. And they also have this Void Spirit, you can also farm reasonably quickly. So they need the Spirit Bear for the single target damage. But as I said, this is not just the build he's going for in this game, this is also just the standard build in competitive play. Almost all Lone Druids these days in pro play are going for this build. And the reason this build is so strong and so versatile is that it just allows you to have such high tempo. In pro play there's a tendency for games to end quite quickly in this patch, and there just isn't enough space usually to sort of slowly farm up with like a Radiance or a Mjolnir. But if you're playing Lone Druid in pub games, in more disorganized games, especially in lower level pubs, there's typically more space on the map. typically people aren't as good at exploiting timings, they aren't as good at playing with the advantage and finishing games. So typically pub games go for longer. So in pub games, I wouldn't say that this is the standard build. In pub games, honestly, I would go for Mjolnir most of the time rather than Desolator. But of course, it depends on the particular game. But just the ability to farm a lot more is, I think, more important in pub games. So if you're just playing Lone Druid in disorganized pub games, definitely consider going for the Mjolnir build. But if you're playing with a position 1 hero like an anti-mage, definitely even pub games, go for this standard pro player build, which is just go for Quelling Blade and or Venom at the start, of course, and then you go for Phase Boots, Mask of Madness, Desolator, Skull Basher, and then you get AC. If you want to know more about item builds on Lone Druid, I've made a whole video talking about nothing else, so go check that out next. But before you do, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button so that you get notified when I post new videos on Lone Druid and various other micro heroes. And all is willing, I'll see you next time.